the non-Pauline epistles. We're going to start with the exercise on slide 1. What are the general epistles and why are they called that? Please pause the video at this point to answer the question. What are the general epistles and why are they called that? Well, the general epistles was a description that was used early on in church history to describe this section of the New Testament that we're about to look at. These books are also sometimes called the Catholic epistles, and there the word Catholic means universal or general rather than speaking about Roman Catholic. When we talk about epistles, we're talking about letters. And there are 8 letters that we find in this section of the New Testament. Hebrews, James, 1 and 2 Peter, 1, 2 and 3 John, and Jude. These are the letters in the New Testament written by people other than Paul. We'll see a bit later in the course that although Revelation is also a letter, it clearly belongs to another category of literature altogether, known as apocalyptic literature. Notice that these letters generally get their names not from their recipients, like Paul's letters do, but from their author. So we can see that there are letters here from James, from Peter, from John, from Jude. The only exception to that rule here is Hebrews, which for a long time was thought to possibly be one of Paul's letters. And so it was placed at the end of Paul's letters in the New Testament collection. Although the description general epistles is an early one, it's maybe not necessarily a helpful description. It's been suggested that these letters are addressed, unlike Paul's letters, to churches in general, rather than to a single congregation with specific concerns. But I think a careful reading of the general epistles shows that these letters do deal with very specific problems that have arisen in certain local churches, even if their geographical location is not always identified. They deal with specific issues of discrimination, of persecution, of false teaching. Maybe it's more accurate to refer to these letters as non-Pauline letters, even though it's awkward to name something by what it's not. In this section of the New Testament, the non-Pauline letters are grouped together by author. So, for example, 1 and 2 Peter are together, but generally the section starts with the longest letter and ends with the shortest. Paul's letters tend to start with doctrine and end with application, whereas the non-Pauline letters tend to alternate between doctrine and application throughout.